JB here, JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Monday, October 27, 9:17 a.m. Sorry, having some issues with the audio here. I think everything's all set now. Talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P futures soaring. Let's see. Small caps up 1%, Nasdaq up 1.25%, S&P up about 0.8%. All on the news that the China-U.S. trade deal discussions are going well. Looks like the president of China, Xi, and President Trump going to meet at the end of the week, I guess Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, all systems go. I hate gaps. I think I've said this many times. Um, a lot of times the opening gap is the highs of the day for a lot of stocks and index. So hopefully that's not the case here today. We'll see how things play out. But of course, I mean, I prefer to see green today than red. But some of the better days are reversal days. But we'll see what today brings us. Big busy week, right? We haven't had economic data till Friday. We had the CPI data, which came in slightly cooler than expectations. Now we have the Fed meeting on Wednesday. Pretty much, it's like a 95% probability of a Fed cutting rates this meeting and then the one in December. And then January is like 50-50. So there's like a 50% probability the market's pricing in of a rate cut then. Outside of that, big earnings, right? 5 of the 7 Mag 7 names report trillions of dollars of market cap, 773 companies reporting as well. So a lot of moving parts here. But earnings season has been great. It's funny if you had put that, so over the weekend too, POTUS announced a 10% tariff on top of everything else that's going on in Canada, on Canada itself, right? So above and beyond. Normally that would have incited some kind of crazy pull. You would think the market future would be down 1-2% today, and it's like a non-event, right? So you have to think that gets worked out, and then business as usual. A nice little chart here. I don't know where I got this, but every day or even multiple times a day, there's another article coming out around the AI AI bubble, right? And it's like if we're in a bubble, you think everybody be talking about the bubble we're in. It's just not how things work. There was a nice article I got it. I don't know if it was the Wall Street Journal on Friday or Saturday, where I think I posted the link where they talked about the bubble and saying back and posted some actual good links in some of the articles that were amidst the 1999 2000 bubble, like articles saying, "Hey, we're in a bubble." So we'll see how this all plays out. At some point, markets at the top, there's going to be a great playable play to the downside, whether it be the puts, major downside, or slight pull. But for now, fighting that, I mean, there's people who try to time the tops. That's not, to me, that's a fruitless effort. So we'll see how things play out. All right, so that's kind of the overall market. I always try and look at a glass half full scenario too. So nice little chart here. This came from, I don't know if this is Market Watch as well, showing all the names on the small cap sectors, the small cap index, or maybe it's the Russell 3000 that are down for the year. So, pretty good stuff. So you can look at things, in the market's at all-time highs, and you can look at the amount of stocks trading over their 50-day moving average, pretty much flat. So about 50% of the stocks on the S&P are over their 50-day moving average. So you can say, oh, that's bad breath. You want to see all the stocks going up. But to me, maybe that's an opportunity that the names that have been lagging and start to outperform. So, hey, there's opportunity on both sides. So that's kind of the overall market. I put the upper Bollinger Band 677 at 96 on the SPY. So maybe if we do get some kind of reversal at the open, a sell the gap. Want to see that kind of hold. And then blue skies typically beget blue skies. So when we have these breakouts where we have sellers are gone. So where do we find support resistance? So maybe 685 towards the end of the week, especially if there's positive developments on the U.S.-China trade talks. And that's that. All right, so just quick on individual names. First, Dell added some calls at the end. Actually, hold on one second. Sorry about that. Early on Friday, it's one of those names. And if you hear me talk about Dell for the last year and a half, and I remember trading it when it was 60, $70, it's one of those names that you would think would benefit from everything that's going on in AI, the refresh cycles, all those different things, right? And if you take a look at the Dell story, back when I was trading it in May of 2024, when it hit 175 and changes its highs, it had a $4 billion backlog. And I remember talking about it back in 2024. Like, at the time, I think it was like a $75 billion company, and it had a $4 billion backlog. Now it's up to $14 billion, and now it's a $100 billion company. So, not saying, I mean, there's a lot of companies out there that have huge backlogs. I mean, Oracle has that $500 billion of, RPOs. Not the same things, not apples to apples, but it doesn't mean that, hey, that means it's undervalued just based on that, but I think there's opportunity. Not only that, again, it hasn't recouped that or eclipsed that 175 handle from back in May. So I think there's opportunity. Take a look at the chart, some nice consolidation and chop since hitting that 165 on that upgrade. So I think there's room for a rally. It's gapping here over 160 in the pre-market. I'll use the opening gap. Hopefully, I'll be able to get some of my calls out for 100% at the open and then hold the rest. Don't be surprised if I add some more strikes. They don't report till the end of November. So maybe I'll get some strikes into next week or the week after. Because you have to think if there's strong Mag 7 earnings this week, and even if the market chops around, maybe Dell starts to outperform. And then once it gets going, if it breaks 175, maybe $200. So that's Dell. So I added those calls. Not going to talk too much. Okay. Oh, here's gold. Really quick again. Gold. I look at gold from from not a stance of someone who's a gold bug, right? I'm not very bullish gold. Anytime you hear about gold, I'm always cautious, right? Obviously, I haven't traded in quite some time. I mean, besides the last couple months or so, but start looking at the chart. Is that a bear flag setting up? Been very bumpy since the initial move a couple days ago in regards to its big sell-off, its biggest sell-off since 2013. Some chop around, some bounces. Then you see it again today, this morning, down 2%. I mean, maybe it bounces back to 4,400. I don't, I'm not going to sit here and dismiss that possibility. But to me, I think there's more opportunity to the downside. And it's like, what is the true catalyst for gold? It's like, gold's down 2% on the China-U.S. trade war talks, easing concerns, right? But it's like, but then gold would be up on, or it would be, anyway, to me, it's just like, it's hard to create the story where it goes up, in my opinion. So I'll continue to be, I'm not going to add any more position. I'll just continue to hold my GLL calls and my dust calls. I'll continue to lock some in on the way up. That's gold. Sorry, just only 5 minutes left here. I'm trying to look at iRobot here too. So that's that. SanDisk, great trade last week. The stock's up 35% last week, 64% in October. Monster move. I was trying to look for some more calls after locking the last of the strikes in on Friday. And to me, it's like the risk reward is tough now, right? I mean, maybe it rallies into the 200s, gets to 210. Even if it does that, instead of making 1,000% on the strikes like last week, maybe it's 150%. And not only that, you're paying a heck of a lot more for the premium. So the risk is elevated. So not the type of risk reward I like, but great story, especially, I mean, you look at the memory names, Micron, monster moves. Crazy as it sounds, if this continues to go, you can make the case that maybe SanDisk gets to $300, right? And I think it's a 20-something billion dollar company, $40 billion, right? And then you start to, $350, $400 stock. But to play it, to me, the risk reward is a little giant. It's not only that's going to be volatile. So if it sells off a little bit, back down to 160, 170, and there's another opportunity, I'll look for some spec calls there. Reddit and Roku report at the end of the week. Reddit, I think they're both Thursday after the close. Locked the last of my lottos in on Friday for Reddit. Closed up 6.66%. Lucky numbers, lucky sixes. I was looking at premiums last week. I'm like, 300s looked expensive. They were $1. We'll see what they open up here this morning. It's gapping at 220 here. You take a look at, I don't know if I have of course I don't have my chart here, my 10-minute chart of October. It's been stuck in that 200 to 211 range on Reddit since October on Reddit. So finally broke through that on Friday. Is this the start of a multi-day move? If it is, premiums will skyrocket on those lotto, or at least calls into earnings. So if I get the 300s, let's say it goes to 240 by the end of the week, I'll be able to lock some in to cover costs, ride the rest. That'll be the trade. Roku's been doing nothing, so I don't know if I'm going to nibble some, but if I do, maybe I'll look for some spec lottos, 125s, 130s, and then look to close somewhere all of them out before the earnings. Quick on other names, still holding those NKLR spec calls. They have conferences. One's going to be on Wednesday, so maybe that's the spark it needs to finally break out. And then at the end of the day on Friday, I got those iRobot calls. I don't have too much time to talk about it in regards to its story, but they have a Carlyle debt deal, which was set to be amended on Friday. The filing just came out this morning. It looks like it's pushed back to December. So I just made a little joke. It's marked safe from default on that debt. The issue with the stock, it had a going concern warning on their last filing. So when you have that, you have rumblings of a bankruptcy or what have you. So I don't know if this filing sparks shares at the open. It is down 60 cents here in the pre-market. I don't know if that's just folks just selling the news, but I did get some of those lotto calls, locked some in for nearly 80% to cover some of the costs. We'll see where those open this morning. If it does some kind of red to green reversal after the open, I might look for some more spec lottos because high short interest, name that's had some big moves over the past, and you have the backdrop of what's gone on with Open and Beyond Meat. So, all right, let's have a great day, folks. 3 minutes to open. I'll be back. Rock and roll.